morning. My name is Rob Thacker. I'm the music director here. We're going to begin by singing our gathering hymn for this month, 404, What Gift Can We Bring? Please rise in body or spirit. What gift can we bring? What present, what token, what words can convey it, the joy of this day, when grateful we come, remembering, rejoicing, what song can we offer in honor and praise? Give thanks for the past, for those who had vision, who planted and watered so dreams could come true. Give thanks for the now, for study, for worship, for mission that bids us turn prayer into deed. This gift we now bring is present, this token, these words can convey it, the joy of this day, when grateful we come, remembering, rejoicing, this song we now offer in honor and praise.
Good morning. The chalice lighting today is number 448 by Christine Robinson. We gather this hour as people of faith with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning in celebration of the life we share together. Welcome all to St. John's Unitarian Universalist Church. I am Erica Strauss, the worship associate for this service, and our service leader today is Edie Holder. We welcome everyone to this service, no matter your ethnicity, race, sexual orientation, gender identity, old, young, all. A special welcome to visitors. We gather after the service for coffee conversation, and you can find more information about our community at the welcome table in the hallway. If you haven't yet, please put your phones on church mode, and again, welcome.
Please rise in body or spirit and sing hymn 181. No matter if you live now far or near. I'm sure it's another great one that you'll all learn. Here we go. No matter if you live far or near, no matter what your weakness or your strength, there is not one alive we come.
Please join us in the affirmation. This is the mission of our faith, to teach the fragile art of hospitality, to revere both the critical mind and the generous heart, to prove that diversity need not mean divisiveness, and to witness to all that we must hold the whole world in our hands. And now is the time in our service for stones of joys and concerns. This is if there's anyone new, we come up and we can place a stone in the bowl, pick a stone from the one bowl and place it in to make a mosaic of stones to honor our joys and our concerns. If you have a joy or concern that you want read, please put it in a note and put it on the table as you come forward. And also today, we want to acknowledge the deaths of two longtime members. Charles Seibert died on Tuesday, and Mira Rodwan died yesterday. And I will be lighting 2 candles for them. And this now makes we've lost 3 longtime members in less than a month. doesn't turn on. Well, in addition to recognizing the passing of Charles and Mira, we have a joy. Today is David Strecker's birthday. And Monica, it disappeared on me. How do I find it online? Is there anything from online? It went dark. Yes, please. You may read it. She said it would just, all I had to do was hit this and it would come back, and it didn't.
Sorry.
Oh, well.
Okay, Beth Van Wassenhove writes that she has a joy in celebration of the early birth of her niece, Serena Marie, and the health of her amazing mama, Pam.
And I have a joy that I haven't announced to everyone, but since last October, when I was service leader, I was so upset about it, I made an announcement to the whole church. Maybe I should, and give the rest of the story. So I went to, I caught COVID in Europe, and it affected my eyesight. But at the time, when I made the first announcement, I didn't know that it was COVID that caused it. I thought I was just going blind. From wet macular degeneration, and I've since seen a retina specialist, and my eyes are improving, so I haven't had to have eyeball shots, so I can see better than I could a few minutes ago. So I'm not going blind this year, which my mother was legally blind, so I could finally understand exactly what she'd say when it's so dark in here and you can't see, and so anyhow, I have a joy. I have eyesight. It's not back to good yet, but it's, improving. And the meditation. I almost have my act together, but don't count on it. So when putting this bulletin together, I picked everything from all the readings and from ICUUW ministers, because we're recognizing our heritage today. So, and the hymn we just sang is Indian tune, which I like the words, but also we have Unitarians in Khasi Hills in India. So I was just recognizing that. So you got to sing a new hymn. And the meditation is a prayer written by Judith Meyer, 672, which I can't talk and find the page. Anne Sexton wrote, "Look to your heart that flutters in and out like a moth. God is not indifferent to your need. You have 1,000 prayers, but God has one. Dear God, we give thanks for those moments when we can feel that we live in a world that is not indifferent to our need. We all have so many needs, 1,000 prayers, 1,000 needs, that really only need one answer. Let the world not be indifferent. And may we live and be with each other in the way that shows this truth, whatever the day brings, that neither are we indifferent to each other." Amen. And now, if the children of all ages would like to come forward, I have a story. It'd be easier to stay here just because the microphone's here. Hello?
It's on.
Huh? Hello? Oh, okay. All right, guys. Where you use. Who knows what the U's stand for? Anybody? Jessica, what you tell what one of the U's stands for? Unitarian. Do you know what the other U stands for? Universalist. So now we're going to do a little bit of history. The Unitarians and the Universalists joined to become one church in 1961. Many of the people out there are older than 1961, including me, but I know you all aren't. The Universalists are 300 years old. Sounds pretty old. But the Unitarians are older. They date to the time of the Reformation, almost 500 years ago. Have you ever heard of the Reformation? Has anyone out there ever heard of the Reformation? So, somebody like to tell the children what the Reformation is? Or do you want me to tell them? So, in Western Europe, the Catholics were the only Christian faith up until the time of the Reformation. But then there were people with different ideas, and it was called Reforming the Church, the Reformation, where there were lots of different Protestant sects grew up. And the Unitarians got their start in that same period of different thought. So I'm going to talk about the Unitarians today. The Universalists are a subject for another time. So, pretend I'm a ruler, and I say the sky is green. Because I'm the ruler, you have to believe that it is green, or at least not say that it is blue. What do you think about that? Iris says no. Everybody else thinks it's okay. The sky is green. No, Jude thinks no too. Anybody else? Actually, the argument wasn't about the sky. It was about God. The Christian belief for 1,000 years was that God had 3 parts: Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. Christians call this the Trinity. What do you think the first Unitarians thought? I'm going to give you a hint. A unicycle has 1 wheel. So what do you think Unitarian might mean? Is that a good enough hint? Well, think about the word one. Is there 3 gods, or Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, or do we have 1 God? The Unitarians said, we're not going to divide God into 3 parts. We're going to talk about 1 God. So this difference of thought was serious. They took this very seriously in the time of the Reformation. Michael Servetus, an early theologian, he did a whole bunch of things. He was an amazing person, doctor and everything else, was burned at the stake in 1553 in Geneva, Switzerland. They put him up on a stake and they lit a fire underneath him and they burned him just for saying he didn't believe in the Trinity. He was 44 years ago, and that made him a Unitarian martyr. So, you see, they were really serious about, you have to believe. If I say the sky is green, you better believe it or you're in big trouble. So, back then your religion was whatever the king or ruler said. You weren't allowed to worship or speak out against the state religion. Now, there's a man in Romania, another early Unitarian, who argued that, Francis David, who argued that everyone should be able to decide their beliefs for themselves. He said that people may attend any church they like. And he even convinced the king of the time, King John Sigismund, of Transylvania to allow such religious freedom. This is the first time in Western Europe there was such a thing as religious freedom. Francis David's speech is called the Edict of Torda and was given while he was standing on a big rock in the city of Torda, Romania, Transylvania. By the way, when the choir went to Romania in 2000, I got to stand on that rock. I don't think I could climb up it now. So, you have freedom of religion. Who or what do you think God is? Do you have any ideas? That's a homework assignment. I want you to think about what you think God is and talk to your parents about it, because it's an important subject, because we have freedom. In this church, everyone can have an opinion. In fact, it is expected here that we all think for ourselves about what God and religion means to them. And you're not going to get off easy, so you've got to think about that too. So before we sing you out, Ms. Erica is going to read an excerpt from the Edict of Torda.
In every place the preacher shall preach and explain the gospel, each according to his understanding of it. And if the congregation like it, well. If not, no one shall compel them, for their souls would not be satisfied, but they should be permitted to keep a preacher whose teaching they approve. Therefore, none of the superintendents or others shall abuse the preachers. No one shall be reviled for his religion by anybody, according to the previous statutes, and it is not permitted that anyone should threaten anyone else by imprisonment or by removal from his post for his teaching. For faith is the gift of God, and this comes from hearing, which hearing is by the word of God.
May your mind be open to new learning. May your lips bring truth into the world. May your heart know love and your hands do the work of justice as you go your way in peace. May your mind be open to new learning. May your lips bring truth into the world. May our hearts know love and our hands do the work of justice as we go our way in peace. As we go our way in peace.
And now is the time in our service where we give, as we are able, to support this congregation. The ushers will collect the offering. Yes, the only thing I have to say is come on up. written by the Reverend Thandeka. And while she was born with a different name, she was given this name by Archbishop Desmond Tutu in 1984, and it means to be loved. Thandeka, to be loved. The legacy of caring. Despair is my private pain, born from what I have failed to say, failed to do, failed to overcome.
Be still, my inner life. Let me rise to you. Let me reach down into your pain and soothe you.
I turn to you to renew my life. I turn to the world, the streets of the city, the worn tapestry of brokerage firms.
Drug dealers, private estates, personal things in the bag lady's cart.
Rage and pain in the faces that turn from me, afraid of their own inner worlds.
This common world I love anew, as the lifeblood of generations who refuse to surrender their humanity in an inhuman world courses in through my veins.
From within this world, my despair is transformed to hope.
And I begin anew the legacy of caring.
So, as the old saying, life is what happens while you are making other plans. Our plan was to visit Romania to see our partner church and attend the International Convocation of Unitarian Universalist Women, so I could come back and tell you all about that meeting and my visit with our partner church. However, that didn't happen because COVID, possibly on the Viking cruise of the Danube River, which was our honeymoon, or on a train. And Ron and I, that was the first time we caught it. We managed to go through the whole pandemic without getting sick. So the only good thing was we were sick at my son and daughter-in-law's house and not in a hotel. So we were unable to make the trip, maybe this year. So the Unitarian Church of Transylvania, and in my butchered Hungarian, it's Edie Unitarius Agios, was founded in 1568 in the Eastern Hungarian Kingdom by the Unitarian preacher and theologian Ferenc David, also known as Francis David in English. It has a majority Hungarian following and is one of the 18 religious denominations given official recognition by the government of Romania. Church officials place the number of believers at 80 to 100,000, approximately 0.3% of the total population of Romania and 5% of the Hungarian minority population. Now, many of you know this, but I think every so often we should review a bit of our history, so that's what you get. A little bit about our partner church. St. Laszlo is in the Mureș district of Romania. After the fall of Ceausescu and communism in 1989, a call went out from the UUA to begin a partner church program to help the Unitarian churches in Romania. Mary and Tom Darner were instrumental in bringing us on board and taking on a partner church. This church in a small village has been connected with us for more than 30 years. It began with our mostly fundraising for them, as under the communist regime, they were not allowed, nor did they have money to maintain their historic church building, which dates back to the 13th century. A side note, our church is on their historic register. It doesn't have an intact floor, only dirt underneath the pews with wooden walkways. Because of the historic registry, they cannot change that and other aspects of the building. But it has turned into a real friendship between many members of this church and them. Reverend Quiche, minister for 40 years, who shepherded the church through the trials of communism, gave a sermon here some years ago. Many church members have visited, including the choir twice, and some folks from St. Laszlo have visited here. A sincere thank you to the Darners and all the folks that have helped with the Partner Church program through the years. This has enriched our congregation greatly. One of the important things to me about the Partner Church is that it has given our church a window into the world outside the U.S. We have learned some of their history, how hard it was to maintain religious institutions under communism, and the dedication of those church leaders and members to keep on keeping on in the face of such hardship. And as Hada Behar, a Cuban actress and writer, producer, and director who lived between 1931 and 2014, has said, "Fragrance always stays in the hand that gives the rose." We are richer for this connection. And now I have a current announcement. Since Silamer Silaji left St. Laszlo to become a minister closer to his hometown of St. George, Bela Boton Jakabatsi has been serving as interim minister. As of the end of this month, he will become the settled minister there. His responsibilities, in addition to one other smaller congregation, he also teaches part-time at the seminary in Kolozsvár. Kolozsvár is the Hungarian name for Cluj-Napoca, so if you're looking for it on the map, you have to look for Cluj. And he is quite excited about becoming their minister and looks forward to interacting with us. Stay tuned for further developments. Now I want to change the focus and speak a bit about the International Convocation of Unitarian Universalist Women, an organization that I was unaware of until recently, so perhaps this is new information for you as well. The establishment of the International Convocation of UU Women as a nonprofit organization was sparked by the first International Convocation of UU Women and Progressive People of Faith in Houston, Texas in 2009. The Houston Convocation brought 600 women from 17 countries together, and a special collection at the event raised $10,000 for African projects. In 2012, a microloan program was launched in partnership with the African Rural Schools Foundation. The second International Convocation of UU World, whose attendance rivaled that of the Houston Convocation, took place in Marshvasarhely. That's the Hungarian name. In Romanian, it's Târgu-Mureș. Many cities in Romania have at least two, if not three names, because there's also German names for these cities, but the maps are in Romanian. So Marshvasarhely, Târgu-Mureș in 2012. Local Unitarian women, inspired by the convocation, partnered with IWC to implement projects and programs to uplift and empower women in Transylvania in the priority areas established at the second convocation. A groundbreaking leadership school for Unitarian women in Transylvania, initiated in 2014 and continuing today, has provided complex leadership training for more than 350 women. 2 Kasi women participated in the second convocation in Transylvania. These women and their colleagues at Sangkintai, the women's wing of the Northeast Indian Unitarian Union, you know we have Unitarians in Khasi Hills in India, inspired by the second convocation and the success of the Transylvania Leadership School, decided to partner with the ICUUW to implement a complex 6-module leadership development program for Khasi women, funded by a UU-funded program grant through ICUUW. Over 300 women were trained in this program in 2015 and 2016. In 2015, ICUUW organized a gathering in Bolivia, bringing together 30 women from South America and 30 from around the world passionately interested in women's empowerment and response to climate change. A pilot leadership training program in Bolivia, identified as a key need at the 2015 gathering, was implemented in 2019 with funds raised through an online crowdfunding campaign. The program, focusing on developing capacities for long-term success and strengthening grassroots women's leadership, concluded in December 2021 with a presentation of certificates of completion to the 49 graduates and an exhibition of the results of the training. In addition to leadership training, ICUUW actively pursues violence awareness and prevention programs in UU communities around the world. Thanks to UU funding, program grants, and Faithify crowdfunding, IWC has incorporated with the UU Women's Association of Philippines, UNOSC, the Unitarian Women's Association of Romania, and SEG Kintai to implement violence prevention programs in Hungary, India, the Philippines, and Romania. Their hard work was recognized in 2019 by the United Nations, which granted the organization special consultative status with the UN Economic and Social Council, the highest status bestowed upon non-governmental organizations by the UN. In 2017, over 230 people attended the third convocation in Monterey, California, reaffirming the commitment of the participants to work for women's empowerment and fostering global community. Participants left with action steps and ideas they can implement in their own congregations and communities. And then the fourth International UU Women's Convocation took place last September in Cluj-Napoca, or Koleshvar. Now, I got all of this information from their website because they wrote it pretty well, I thought, to sum up their work. So they've been around for a while. And since I didn't know about it, I figured you might not know it as well, so I'm sharing it. I attended a Zoom meeting last week of the ICUUW. There were attendees that I could recognize from Denmark, Romania, Khasi Hills, Kenya, Burundi, the US, and elsewhere. The subject of the meeting was a poem by Amanda Gorman, Girls on the Rise. She is famous, you might know, for her reading of her poem, The Hill We Climb, at the 2021 inauguration of US President Joe Biden. So we will see the part of the program that is publicly available and used at the meeting here in a moment. And now to the reason Nancy Greenlee chose the UN Women logo for our bulletin. The ICUUW Spring Seminar, which will be March 15th and 16th in New York City, they will participate at the UN in the Speaking Up for Liberal Religious Values at the UN during the Commission on the Status of Women. As well, in addition to being on campus at the UN, they will have workshops off campus because entrance onto the UN campus is limited, space is limited to be more inclusive. So now you know more about a branch of the UUA and the wider Unitarian community. I think it's amazing how much is going on in Unitarianism across the world, and so much of it we don't really know a lot about. So I'm just trying to put a little bit out there. So now we have the slides of Amanda Gorman's poem.
Hi, and I will read the part that I've got anyway. Girls on the Rise by Amanda Gorman. Who are we? We are girls on the rise. Today, everyone's eyes are on us as we make waves, pave the way, and save the day. Today, we finally have a say. Some of us go by she, and some of us go by they, but no matter our names or from where we came, in our hearts we are the same. We are a power, a movement, pretty powerful. We've been here for generations, shining across all nations. We are different people, each of us a different shape and size, a different wonder, a different wise. Who are we? We are a billion voices, bright and brave. We are light, standing together in the fight. We are girls like never before, speaking out more and more, because when our quiet is broken, the world must hear us roar. Oh, I'm not done yet. Oops, I'm still here. Okay. And now we have announcements. Announcements are in your order of service. There are a few that are coming up soon. Reverend Jen Grayson will be the speaker for a forum on February 2 from 9:45 to 10:45 in Crow Pfeiffer. Office is closed on the 20th for Martin Luther King Day. And the congregational visioning, which you've heard a lot about, is going to be happening Sunday, January the 26th, after lunch. And so the workshop will last about 3 hours, and everybody's really encouraged to come. Did you want to speak about that? Oh, please register for that, because we need to know how many people are coming. Link is in the e-news. And then Nancy Henry also had an announcement. There are other announcements in here, so please check your order of service.
You all have the insert about the No Talent show. That doesn't mean you have to have no talent. It just means, I don't know what it means exactly. Reb Jen's idea, so ask her for details. Anyway, we're going to have a really fun time on Friday the 7th. But I'm only here to tell you that there's a sign-up sheet. It would be very helpful to the MCs of the evening if we have some kind of a list of who's going to be doing what. However, that doesn't mean that you can't just show up that night with your talent. So if you know ahead of time, sign up. If not, just show up. Be there. Have fun. It's going to be great.
One more announcement. There will be a celebration of life for Barbara Haddon on the 25th at 1 o'clock. Is that correct? At 1 o'clock here.
12 o'clock for visitation
And,
1 o'clock for service.
okay, 12 o'clock visitation, and then 1 o'clock is the service. With the family will be here. And
If there are any spots on the Soup and Bread luncheon board out there, please fill them up.
yeah, if there are spots on the soup and bread luncheon board out there in the hallway there, think about signing up. And I think that's it. Have I got anything else? Any other announcements? Okay, thank you.
You want to explain? You want me to explain?
You can explain.
You need your other hymnal.
I do.
We're going to close with we're going to sing our closing hymn, 1043, in the teal hymnal. We're going to follow the instructions on the bottom, as I was reminded are there this morning when I was like, how should we do this? So we'll sing it all through first, singing the part 1. We'll then sing it all through again, singing part 2. And then we're going to sing them both together, but this half will be part 1. So you chose the right seat to sing the Hungarian, right? And this is part 2. Edie will be standing on this side leading part 1, okay? So here we go. 1043. 1, 2, 3. O hi to cetet, o cetet, o beke, o beke, o daldash, o daldash, o nishten, o nishten, o zusek, where there is faith, there is love. Where there is love, there is peace. Where there is peace, there is blessing. Where there is blessing, there is God. Where there is God, there is no need. There is faith, there is love. Where there is love, there is peace. Where there is peace, there is blessing. Where there is blessing, there is God. Where there is God, there is no need.
And I had it open and then I closed it on myself. Our closing words come from the Reverend Ted Parker, from like 200 years ago. He was an early heretical Unitarian from the New England area. Be ours a religion which, like sunshine, goes everywhere. Its temple, all space. Its shrine, the good heart. Its creed, all truth. Its ritual, works of love. Its profession of faith, divine living. And we open the service with the chalice lighting, so I have words for extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And thank you all for coming, for attending this morning, those on the internet and those that are here. Thank you so much.
Oh no, that was from Jekyll and Hyde. It's movie music.